Well, now I've had to zoom out a little bit to make sure we can see a little bit more of the information on the sheet. Write an inequality for the situation at most 11 players. So, x can be at most 11, which means 11 is an included value, so it could be 11, it could be equal to that, but it has to be less than or equal to 11, because I can't have 12, because that would be too many, but I could have 9. 9 would satisfy my value for x. I could have 10. I could have 11. So x is less than or equal to 11 would be an inequality for the given situation. Write an inequality for the situation taller than 48 inches. X has got to be greater than 48. 25. What is the area of a rectangle that has a length of 5a plus 2? Go ahead and put it in parentheses. And a width of 9 centimeters. Well, I would have my length times my width, 9 centimeters. But I really don't like a whole number on the right side of my parentheses, so I'm going to go ahead and write it this way. So I have my still length times width. And now we're just dealing with distribution. 9 times 5 is 45, so 45a. Plus 9 times 2 is 18b. And that's centimeters squared. An equilateral triangle has an angle measuring x minus 5. Find x if the sum of the degrees of the triangle is 180. Well, by now we should know that an equilateral triangle means that all 3 of the sides are equal and all 3 of the angles are equal. If that's the case, then in order for 3 angles to be equal, they would all have to be 60 degrees. So 60 is equal to x minus 5. We add 5 to both sides. And x has got to be equal to 65. Well, if you didn't remember that an equilateral triangle has 3 degrees that are all 60 degrees, we could also solve this by saying, by knowing that there are 3 angles in a triangle, and multiplying each of those 3 angles times x minus 5. And my total number of degrees for a triangle has got to be 180. So I would distribute 3x minus 15 equals 180. Add 15 to both sides. And 3x now equals 195. And then again, divide by 3 and x equals 65. So either way you do it, you should have determined that x equals 65. The side length of an equilateral triangle, again, all 3 sides are equal, is x plus 3. Write an expression for the perimeter of the triangle. Well, the triangle has 3 sides that are all the same length, so 3 times x plus 3. And that would be more than sufficient for me. However, you could distribute and have 3x plus 9. I would take either answer for this expression. Jennifer went to the store and spent $6 on school supplies and received $4 back in change. Write an expression that represents the problem and solve. Really, the question's a little bit incomplete because we're trying to solve for how much she started with. So, she started with some amount and spent $6 and was returned 4. So I can add 6 to both sides which will cancel this out, and x will equal $10. So she started with $10 before she went to the store. The sum of 3 consecutive numbers is 24. What are the numbers? These were always fun logic puzzle games. So I need to find 3 consecutive numbers that add up to 24. And generally the way I do it is pick 3 numbers that are somewhat in the middle of 24 and 0. Here I still need to be slightly on the lower end because the higher I get, the more likely that the sum is going to be greater than 24. So 6 plus 7 plus 8. Now that's not quite 24, so let me scratch off the 6 and go plus 9. And that does equal 24. So 7 plus 8 plus 9.